Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to try to fix the horn on my Oldsmobile. The problem I'm having is that I replaced the turn signal switch and now my horn's continuously honks when I turn the wheel. So I can't have that when I'm driving or else I'm going to upset a lot of people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to see if loosening up the steering wheel itself fixes the problem, because I think I made it maybe too tight. Cars, especially with like older cars, their horns are pretty sensitive also, like with its age. So when you replace a turn signal switch like I did, um just be careful of like how you put it back together and how much pressure you apply to the steering wheel, because as you can tell, like the steering wheel is very close to the column, which is good, so there's not going to be play, but the only thing is that the horn's going to keep going off. So I'm going to try to loosen this up a little bit more and then see if that helps get rid of the horn problem. All right, so to start this, you're going to want to remove the top part of the button of the horn, which is this part. For my car, it's very easy. You just pull it out and it pops right off. So you want to take that out first. After you take that part off, now you want to get your socket. For mine, I have a 24 millimeter deep socket. I'm going to use this to take out the nut that's inside the steering wheel. That's what it holds in place so it doesn't get loose or fall off while you're driving. So you want to take this, put it inside. Now you want to get your ratchet, and I'm going to need to use an adapter for this because this one's too small. So that's going to help me put it inside. Now what you want to do is turn it counterclockwise and try to take off the bolt. And with some pressure, it will come off. If it doesn't come off, or if it's too hard, one trick to do to take it off is that you're gonna take the ratchet and then just start hitting it on the side to move it out. Or if it's really hard to take off, you can probably get an extension, or if you have a breaker bar, or if you have like just like a metal bar or something that goes inside to give you so you have more, I guess, more like a bigger radius, so the torque, it'll be easier to torque it off. So you want to do that. All right, so now that the bolt is off, you want to put this to the side. And to take off the wheel, what you're gonna need to buy, because there's honestly no other way around it, you're gonna need a steering wheel puller. This is what I got in Napa. So basically what this does is that when you take it out, you have these two screws, or these two bolts that go inside, two holes inside the steering wheel. So as you can see right here, there are two bolts that are open. So what those are for is that you put basically the screw inside, and you put both of them in, and then you use this tool to basically just pop it out. So usually just put these two in, put that one in, and then you have to actually screw these clockwise. So it gives it, so you're going to apply pressure onto the steering wheel, which is actually going to push it this way. So once that happens, the steering wheel will pop off and then you'll be able to continue. All right, so now what you want to do is that you're going to have these two bolts in. You're going to align this at the center stud. So now you want to screw this clockwise to make it push out. And then once it starts getting tight, like so, now what you want to do is start turning these bolts inward. So let's do this clockwise, do this one clockwise. All right, one thing I want to mention is that you're going to need to use these washers. So yeah, so these bolts don't go inside. All right, so I was able to put the screw in. Now I'm going to take this one out, or pull it. There we go. So once you start tightening it, you're gonna start feeling it starting to give out. So that's normal. That means that's actually popping the steering wheel out of place. So now I'm able to take out the steering wheel. So what I'm doing is I'm using black electrical tape. I'm gonna cut it so then the wheel will stay aligned, because that's one thing you have to be worried about during this process. If this is out of if this is not aligned, you're probably gonna have you're probably gonna be driving and the wheel's gonna be slanted because of that. So I do that just in case. And now I'm just gonna cut it, and after that, just pull out the steering wheel. This part right here, it's like a plate because there's actually, I guess like a locking plate that keeps the wheel from being moved around, I guess for like theft reasons. This right here is where the horn goes. So every time you press it in, the horn would sound. So I need to find out what's going on in here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, since I pulled the steering wheel out, I'm going to see if it's because of the amount of tension that I put in the steering wheel that it made the horn go nuts. So what I'm going to do is that the power is on, I plugged in the battery. I'm going to put the ignition to the on position to free the steering wheel and start rotating it. Just a disclaimer, be careful when you do this, because sometimes if the system is not correctly installed, it will spark. And that happened to me one time with a different car. I took out the steering wheel and then tried to use the horn, and it started sparking like crazy. So if you're gonna do this, use some safety goggles, or just try to like stay away from it. For me, I don't have safety goggles with me, so I'm just gonna try to move away from the side in case there's sparks going in this direction, so at least it won't hit me. So now, on position, rotate it. If it starts honking, then we solve the problem. All right, so we solved the problem. So what that means is that it's actually under, it's not in terms of the steering wheel pressure, how much you put in it, it's actually inside the column. So what I'm going to do now is I have to take out the plate and also take out the locking plate, which is, it can be intimidating at first, but it's doable. It just takes time to take off because it's there's a ring inside it and it gets really annoying. So I'm going to do that and then try to see if I could loosen something up. If not, and if that's not the case, then it could be a short circuit somewhere. And if there's a short circuit and I can't fix it, then for now I'm just going to put electrical tape around the horn connector and cover it, so then the horn won't go crazy. Now I won't have the horn, but when I bought this car, it didn't have the horn at all. It wasn't working at all, so that's really not much of a big deal for me. But I'm just going to try to see what I can do for now. All right, so now what you're going to do is take these 3 screws off with the Phillips screwdriver. Just be careful not to lose them because they are pretty small. I'm just going to put them on the floor with the plate itself once you take it off. Okay, so it pops off just like that. Okay, so now this part is probably the hardest part of this process. You will need another tool for this. It's a special one. And it's right here. It's called the steering wheel lock plate tool. I got this at Napa also. So now I have to put this on. So basically just put this on right here. And then you're going to tighten it just like the steering wheel lock. Or the steering wheel removal tool, and then you just have to try to take out this ring that's in the middle out of place, so you're able to take out the lock plate and then have access to the turn signal switch. Okay, so what I did was that I put this inside the stud, or the main part of the steering, and then I just used this part and then just rotated it, and now it's in place, but this is still loose. So what you want to do is take this wing nut and then basically just take it all the way down, and then you're going to start you're going to keep pushing it forward until it gets really tense, so then it'll push the plate out, and then allow you to remove the ring. So now you just want to do this, and then you want to stop once it gets really tight. All right, just like that. So now that it's done, we can get to this. Okay, so what I'm using to take out the ring is 2 flathead screwdrivers, and this is going to take some practice. You're going to want to kind of like wiggle it in and out, try to find ways to pull it out, because I really can't explain how you do it. There is a tool that can take out the ring, but you don't really need it. It'll be a lot quicker, but I'm going to use just 2 flathead screwdrivers for now, and then try to take it out. Okay, so now it's out of place, so I can just pull this all the way back, and there's another slot for it to go in. So then that gives us room to take out the lock plate. All right, so now it's the lock plate's out. You can just simply move this. The ring will want to come out, so it's fine if it comes out. I'm just gonna leave it here for now. Put it like that. So now the ring is out, the plate. And now we have access to the turn signal switch. So this right here is actually where the horn, like the button from the steering wheel, contacts like the horn switch. So this is basically like the whole thing, or like this is like one of the main pieces of it. So let me see if I can show you. So this is the part. So what it does is that when you press down, goes in, and after that, this part, if you can see, there's like a hole right here, and there's a spring loaded. So when this goes all the way down, it's going to start touching this piece of metal, which is connected to this huge ring that's also made of metal. So every time you turn the wheel, no matter where the wheel is, when you press it, it will start to activate the horn. Now, just like I said, for mine, I believe it's doing it all the time. It's grinding on this plate, which is not good, and that's not what we want. So this could be the culprit. Maybe it's too close to it, but it might be either this one right here, which is also another part. If I can show you, if you can see that bronze button right here, this is from the new switch. So this goes down, and then this makes a contact to the horn relay, and then that's what will send the signal to the actual horns that make the sound. So this part, I think maybe it's too tight. So what's happening is that this is going in slightly and making the horn go off. And then another one could probably be the spring right here. Maybe it's not in the correct place, but I'm gonna try to figure out and see what's wrong with it. All right, so sorry if I skipped out on a lot. As you can see, I put the wheel on. So what happened was that I took like an hour to try to figure out what was wrong, because every time I try to adjust something, I'll put it back in, and then every time I turn the wheel, it still honk. Just right now, when I turn the wheel, it doesn't do that anymore. Let me just show you. This is not connected all the way in, so took it out. So what I did is just I took the turn signal switch, I just kind of like pulled it out, and then just put it back in, and I guess that kind of helped. I'm not really sure what I did, because I did multiple things. I just took out the switch, kind of like bent it, and then put it back in. I also I guess like I moved the spring inside like the horn contact, because it looked like it was a bit out of place. What else did I do? Maybe it was pressure related, because also there's a spring inside, like in the center of the steering column. I don't know if that does anything, but it kind of like, I think it's like holds the locking plate in place. But other than that, it's working fine, because like when I do because everything's connected to each other. So like for example, I use a turn signal, still working. The right one's still working. The flashers don't work, but they've never worked. Even with this, they still don't work. So that's normal. So I'm just gonna put this back on. Put this back on carefully, because I think I made a short circuit. Okay. So that's what you want to do. Since the steering wheel, like the center of the like part of the steering wheel is made out of metal. If you hit the steering column, like on one of the corners, there's actually electricity going through the stud. So in that case, you do not want to have the car on while you put like everything back together. The good thing is that I have this around it, so this is everything around it's just plastic. The inside's like this plastic material or vinyl, but I'm pretty sure like the inside of the ring is made of metal. So there's probably electricity flowing through it, but with the, I guess like this wrap, the steering wheel like cover, it kind of like got rid of the current. So a good thing I didn't get shocked. So there's a short circuit right there. So now what I want to do is show you again. Well, I want to do again and see, like turn the steering wheel to see if it's short circuits again. Because before I took it out, to show you guys, it was working fine. So let's see if it did anything. So as you can tell, it's not honking, but the thing is that I don't know for sure. I have to take it for a test drive and turn it around, use the wheel, like rotate it, and then just kind of like let it sit in a while. And every time you do that, some of the parts inside start moving. So then it could cause the horn to start honking constantly again. But so far, when I used to do this, like to this angle right here, I would say about like maybe 7 or 8 o'clock. When this part's at 7 or 8 o'clock, it'll start honking like crazy. And if you leave it at that position, it would stay honking. But so far, it's not honking at all. So what I want to do is see if I press the horn, it actually honks. Because if it does, that means that the problem might be solved. I don't want to say that's solved for sure, because maybe if I put the bolt back in and like tighten the steering wheel, maybe that made something like the gap between the horn contact and the steering wheel too close, so then it would start going off. So what I'm going to do is just put this back on, just as a safety thing, so I don't get shocked, because it's all metal, and then press this in and see if it honks. Okay, so as you can see, it's not honking. Let me see if I turn it back on. Okay, so it does honk. Now let's see if it honks when it goes to the left. Okay, so far so good. So I think that solved my problem. I'm gonna take it for I'm gonna tighten this steering wheel, turn on the car, and then take it for a test drive. Okay, so I do want to mention that to put everything back together for your steering wheel, just do the process of taking everything apart backwards, and it's very simple and very straightforward. Once you take it out, then you basically know how to take out a steering wheel for any car, but for my case, it's like for any classic car. All right, so now we're gonna drive it. If you can tell right now, it's actually daytime. Mainly because when I did the recording, it was for me it was last night, and what happens is that the car didn't want to turn on because I accidentally made a short circuit. So I guess the car or something in the relays thought that the car was overheating, so the car refused to start, which is pretty good. It's like a safety mechanism, I guess, to not let the car to not let you start while overheating, or to let the car catch on fire. So I just let it unplugged for the night. I let it unplug for the night, and then this morning I plugged it back in, and now it's working just fine. But yeah, but so far it's so good. When I go to this angle, put pressure on the wheel, nothing's happening. So it seems like the problem's been fixed. I think what happened was that when I was working on the car, I might have torqued it too much, so then the steering wheel was way too close to the horn button. So I guess it made it go all whack. So that's just one thing with older cars. The stuff for the horn is very sensitive. So that's you just have to be careful of like how much you tighten the bolts. Okay, there we go. So it works, but the only thing is that before it was too sensitive. Now it's just you have to put a little bit more effort into pressing the horn. There's like a sweet spot for it. I know that the contact button is on the center, but like on the left part of the center where you unbolt it. So yeah, the good news is we got a working horn. Before it was never working. After I changed the switch, like I said, it works perfectly fine, but then the horn got too sensitive because I didn't put this in right. So now that that's been solved, now the car's a bit safer. Because, well, I mean, I guess the horn lets people know that you're probably going to hit them, or if they're going to hit you. That's just how I see it. Like, the horn's kind of like a safety feature, so that's good. But yeah, so that's basically it. Thanks for watching. What I'm going to do next is try to take off the dash and fix a couple of problems, such as the lights on the dashboard. Before they were working when I bought the car, but after I took it out to kind of clean up the dashboard because it looked really bad, now it's not working. Oh, the blower motors aren't working, the heater isn't working, which was also working before, but I think it's just wrong connections. Hopefully I could figure out what's wrong with the fuel gauge. If it has to deal with the fuel sending unit, that means I have to take down the tank, which is going to be a pain. And I don't know if I'm going to do that anytime soon. But yeah, I just want to do a lot of stuff before the summer ends and before I get back to school. But yeah, so you're going to see more of this. Hopefully I'll be more consistent with videos. But yeah, see you soon.